Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the BB-Scho. It's been a minute since we've been here. We've got a special treat for you guys today. We got our Week 17 preview. It's Saturday morning. We're excited. Fantasy Championship weekend, the whole shebang. But here we are on Saturday morning. We've got a special guest coming in. But first, we got to kick it off with Fantasy Frenzy. After that, we'll have some extensive Raiders benching Derek Carr conversation, and then really just amp up. We're bringing on our resident Vikings fan, the biggest Vikings fan you will ever meet, to discuss Vikings-Packers this week and what the Vikings' future, if the Packers can pull this off. If he's scared at all, I doubt he is, but we'll dive into it. But first, I've got the first pick in Fantasy Frenzy. I think you guys know it's been a week. It's been 2 weeks since we drafted him. I'm going to take Travis Kelce.
Yeah, consensus first overall pick when he's on the board. This is going to be probably contradictory to everything I say later. And I guess if this guy goes off, doesn't mean the Packers still can't win, because he went off last time and the Vikings didn't score like 40. It was, I believe, 23. Somebody else, Justin Jefferson. He's at this point having an MVP season. He's most likely going to go over 2,000 yards.
That's a pretty good pick, man. He's a pretty good player. I'm gonna follow that up with Tyreek Hill. Really, no explanation needed here. Just need a wide receiver one, taking the big names that are available.
Yeah, no, that was really, it was between him and Tyreek Hill for me. Both guys are very explosive, and got him in a league they're on this year, fantasy football wise, and really even receiving wise. They've been at the top all year. I'll go with Saquon for my RB1. I like him a lot more than the other running backs this week. And I don't know. He's just got one of those high floors, man. He's pretty safe when you come to picking him.
Yeah, and we're mirroring each other's strategy right now, but I'm going to have to take Austin Eckler. I can't let you get both of those guys the same way I can't let you get Jefferson and Tyreek Hill. So a little strategy, but not really. He's a big enough name that he's got to be on someone's team.
Very true. Very true. Boy. So now that's the question. Running back, receiver. Where to go, where to fall. I'm gonna take Devontae Adams.
Wow.
Yeah. I know Derek Carr got benched, but truth be told, there's a lot of games that it didn't matter that Derek Carr was in there. I think they're gonna have to kind of force him the ball a bit, man. I could see trouble in paradise this offseason where he's already requesting trade again.
I'm surprised it's going to get to the offseason. So
yeah, I don't want to call him James Harden because it doesn't mean he's James Harden, but we've seen this, where a guy demands a trade a year later. Ben Simmons is in the same boat where even superstar players can get moved in 2022. So hoping he does, man. Packers would love to have him back home.
Yeah. So I was originally going to go Travis Etienne here because he's got such a good matchup against Houston, but I think I'm going to stay away from it because the game actually, just like Derrick Henry, the game does not matter for the Jaguars. So if he gets pulled at like halftime, I could be screwed because it really doesn't matter if they lose this game or not. So with that being said, I think I'm going to come back and grab a wide receiver, to a wide receiver 2, that is. And I'm going to take Chris Godwin in a must-win game for the Bucs. He's kind of emerged as our wide receiver 1 this year, and he's been really solid consistently. And the Panthers secondary is not great. And like I said, the Bucs win this game. I think they're in, and that goes for the Panthers as well. But Chris Godwin is my wide receiver 2.
No, very, very solid. One of those guys that's he's got a high floor. Being Tom Brady's number 1 weapon, he's not going to have a bad day. That's for sure. Boy. Yeah, might be the first week where I'm actually going back and forth between receiver, running back. Usually I just load out. We usually just choose one and go with it. I'm going to take the RB2 here and Joe Mixon. Um, uh, to be honest, I mean, you brought up the thing with ETN and even some of the running backs that are available this week. He just, in my eyes, is like the least bustable, if that makes sense. I mean, I had some guys written down. I'll give them off later in case I could use them for a flex, but it's kind of risky, man. Just
Yeah.
like the ETN thing, we're at that point in the year where some teams just don't have a whole lot to play for.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm going to follow that up with Aaron Jones. I'm trying to, if you guys can't tell, I'm trying to, theme out guys who are playing for a lot this week. And Aaron
Yeah.
Jones has quietly had a top 10 RB season. He's off. I just checked. He's off the injury report. That was the reason I didn't pick him last week. So, and thank goodness I didn't pick him because he put up like 5 points. But that's the lowest total of the year. So he's been pretty consistent. And in a must-win game for the Packers, I think he's got a pretty decent floor of about 12 to 15 points. So I'll take it.
Okay. No, this is good. I actually like who I'm going to take at my flex spot here. AJ Brown is still on the board.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
I know it's matchup and whatever, and he's got Gardner Minshew, but it's a wide receiver one that's been playing very well all year, and I love that more than the next guys I'd written down. You mentioned ETN, and you took Aaron Jones. Then it went to Brian Robinson from the Commanders. Not saying he's a bad player, but you already see the drop off, and
Yeah.
it's a little steep. So glad to get the skill positions out of the way. Well,
I'm gonna
running
do
back and wide
something.
receiver wise.
I'm gonna do something for my flex. You know what? I'm gonna hold on to it because I gotta grab my QB here before you can take him. This is a very interesting week for me. I think I'm gonna do something a little crazy here, but a quarterback in a must-win situation. It was between Rodgers and this guy, and I think I'm gonna lean this guy because who I'm gonna take for my flex. I'm gonna take Jared Goff.
Wow.
Yeah, little risky play, but he's been pretty solid all year. I mean, Allen and Burrow are playing each other, and they both got pretty good defenses. So, and neither one of them need the win that bad, if that makes sense. It's going to be a Monday night, crazy game, but the Lions are on playoff missing watch at this point, and they've got a better matchup against. I'm blanking, but they're playing Chicago, so I think they should be able to shred Chicago's secondary at home, as most people have. So that's why I'm taking them.
Huh. No, it's a fair assessment on the situation. I mean, personally, not knocking the golf selection because the last time they played the Bears, it worked really well. But under pressure, man, that's
Yeah, the Bears don't get pressure though. That's the thing.
no, but I'm saying like he.
You can't say
This
that
is a
he went to a
must win
Super Bowl, man.
and put up 3 points.
Yeah, okay, and Brady
After
put up
Todd
Brady
Gurley
put
and
up like
CJ
10.
Anderson carried him there. Yeah, but I mean, it's Tom Brady, so he gets the free pass
Right,
from everybody.
it's still
We
a
can do
regular
a deep
season game,
dive.
man.
My Tom Brady, I have him in very high regards, but I don't hold him in this like tier of his own anymore. Like he's there in terms of rings and whatever, but like there are some deep dives where it's like, I digress. Yeah,
Oh
I'll
yeah,
keep it rolling. Josh Allen,
yeah.
lock
I
it.
mean,
It's you bring up the Jared Goff thing immediately. I'm thinking of like the Patrick Holmes versus Jared Goff, prime time game. If that was Monday night or Thursday, but either way, 51-45. The Bills and Bengals get anything close to that. Great for fantasy
maybe,
purposes.
maybe we'll see. I'm gonna follow up with the Giants defense. Let me pull up their matchup because it's a pretty good one. They're playing Indianapolis, who randomly decides to switch a quarterback every week, and is a pretty poor offense. So I think that's self-explanatory.
Yeah, it's a Jeff Saturday way, man. Tight ends where it gets interesting. And I'm going to roll George. Interesting, but I say that in a way that it's actually improved at the end of this year.
Yeah, ever since Purdy
In
came
terms of
in, Kittle's been pretty solid.
yeah, and
Is
Evan Ingram was
Debo is
an
Debo
option.
still down?
He returned to practice this week. I don't know if he's going to play. Even if he does,
He's out.
I'm
He's
starting
out.
Kittle. Yeah, okay, that's even better. I'm starting Kittle in my fantasy championship this week. So go with Kittle. Evan Ingram was an interesting
Evan
thing I had in
Ingram's
there.
on a pretty good tear too.
Yeah, it was just the like you brought up ETN. The Jaguars don't have a whole lot of incentive for this one.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna
And
take.
well,
Go ahead. I'm gonna take Harrison Butker. Not really anything crazy here. I'm just taking a kicker because, and he's been
no,
struggling. He's low key been struggling, but I think he's gonna turn it around.
no, he's on the Chiefs offense, so should get plenty of opportunity. Um, I'll boy, defense wise, yeah, I'm gonna go with it. I like the Ravens. They play Jarrett Stidham this week, and I feel like they've really been stingy as of late. I mean, they're winning with Tyler Huntley. He's been kind of all right. I was kind of hoping for a breakout a little bit more. But there's not scoring a lot of points, but again, they're winning because they're holding teams. So love the Ravens, especially against Jarrett Stidham.
All right, and I'm gonna close out. Little risky play here, but man, it's sometimes I just got that feeling that this guy's got big boom potential for the flex. I'm gonna take Christian Watson for
Mm,
my flex, and let me just say I've got a good feeling. Must win game. Who are they going to give the ball to, right? So
yeah,
uh, I've got two Packers on my team. Not sure how I feel about that, but we'll see.
no, that's a solid pick right there. Um, I'll wrap things up and take Evan McPherson. That
Solid
guy has
pick.
money. Yeah, especially at this time of the year.
Solid,
Eh,
solid pick.
it'll be clutch.
So
Solid.
as a quick recap, I've got Goff, Eckler, Jones, Hill, Godwin, Kelsey, Watson, Butker, the New York Giants. You've got Allen, Barkley, Mixon, Jefferson, Adams, Kittle, Brown, McPherson, and the Baltimore Ravens defense. Um, so that concludes Fantasy Frenzy. We're going first with that this week, and that's going to take us into a quick little Monday night recap from last week. Jake, our Vikings fan, will be joining us momentarily, but we can dive in because there's really not much to talk about here, if you ask me. It was kind of trash. I don't really have much to say. The Colts made the move, started Nick Foles, threw three interceptions. I briefly, honestly, if I'm being brutally honest, I turned this game off. The Chargers are rolling though, and I don't want that to go unnoticed. They are rolling, and they are hot at the right time and healthy at the right time. Eerily similar to the Bengals of last year. But what are your thoughts?
I really love the Chargers. I actually saw something this week that Joey Bosa is coming off IR, and it's
Really?
like
I did not see that.
I, yeah, I was like, that's kind of a big deal, especially
Yeah.
coming in a playoff time and your defense can that really get that much like significantly better. It's not just adding a pass rusher; it's adding probably one of the top 5 guys in the league. Yeah, that is kind of a scary thing to face. It's just what are they going to do in the playoffs? This is a team that they see get there because they're always at 500. Believe they should get there this year,
Yeah.
but they're probably gonna have that. In my opinion, I'd have to go through the list. Gonna have the worst coach in that AFC playoff picture. I mean, yeah, and I know you might contest it with Zach Taylor, but
No, not worse than Brandon Staley.
did you
Come
see Brandon Staley's workout before that game?
on.
Man was like twerking on the sideline. Man, they're like zoomed in and giving stats, and I'm like, what are we doing?
He's not. Zach Taylor at least has been to the Super Bowl, and while I do think his play calling is still a little bit meh, they clearly are a better team and are good with Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor's not, in my opinion, on the hot seat at all. No, Brandon Staley probably isn't at this point, but he needs to be because yeah, they've got problems with Brandon Staley. I mean, we've been through it a number of times, and he'll be the ultimate reason why they don't go to the Super Bowl, in my opinion. They're starting to become a pretty popular Super Bowl pick, and I just have to disagree with that, man. I really do. Mainly because of Brandon Staley, and I don't think their defense can hold up against some of the better teams in the AFC.
Yeah. Nah, I'm right there with you. And, hopefully the Chargers just close things out strong. Do decent in the wild card, but I would be very shocked if this is the team that represents the AFC.
Yeah, I would be as well. All right, so I'm gonna. All right, with the Monday night recap, kind of done at this point. There really isn't much to talk about. A game that's decided by 17 points. We've got Jake joining us. He's loading in right now. Before we move into some Derek Carr talk, Jake, can you hear us? We are live. Can you hear us? Always connecting. Sorry. Jake, what's up, my man?
We're there. We figured
What's
it
up?
out.
Yeah.
Yes, we figured it out.
Hey.
Got through the technical difficulties. Welcome.
Right.
Want to introduce Jake to the show. Our resident Vikings fan, diehard Vikings fan, calling in from, I believe, Arizona. But
Arizona it is.
Yeah.
Oh.
Introduce yourself and give us a hot take.
Yeah. My name's Jake Wesley. Like he said, I'm a big Viking guy. Really not liking the discrimination that my team gets on a weekly basis by you Packer fans. It really hurts. Some of the takes in the last couple of weeks have been a little far-fetched, but my hot take here is Justin Jefferson is going to break the single season reception record. He's going to go for 151, and he's going to have 2,100 receiving yards.
Wow.
Yep.
Going to go for 300 in the last two.
Yep. That's my hot take.
That's not that. I'm going to be honest. That's not that hot, but I respect the 2,100. That's pretty risky there. I don't see that happening. But I will ask you this. I mean, I feel like I'm pretty fair towards the Vikings on the show. You can disagree, but relative to Christian and the rest of national media, I feel like I give the Vikings a fair shot. And I believe I was talking about Kirk comparing him to the MVP conversation last week. So I just want to get that off my chest. But what are your thoughts on Derek Carr getting benched for Stidham? We'll give you the floor to go first here.
My initial take when I saw the news break on Instagram was WTF, for the lack of better words. What are we doing here in Las Vegas? I'm only 6 hours away, and I can't imagine what that organization is going to look like next season. I'm pretty sure that they have to get rid of their head coach. He's not done anything good play calling wise.
I'm afraid that's not going to happen.
And they're a fringe playoff team looking to try to make a push, try to get the last couple of games go their way, and they bench a guy who we know is not a starting caliber quarterback. It makes no sense, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think there's a clause in Derek Carr's contract that if he gets hurt in the last two games, he's like guaranteed another $40 million.
It's about, yeah.
Yeah, which is clearly like the financial reasons why they're doing this. But I have to agree. I think this is, and I hate to like piggyback on the rest of everybody giving this take, but he's going to lose the locker room if he hasn't already. This is a tear. I mean, there's no like this guy stands up there and cries after Raiders games, man. Like this guy died. Like he's literally said, I don't want to play anywhere else other than the Raiders. He's a diehard Raider. I don't know how someone can be that, but he is. And he's not even playing that bad this year. That's the thing is he is leading the league in interceptions. He has 14. He threw 14 last year. I'm pretty sure the last game he had like multiple tipped interceptions. I'd have to go back and watch the tape to like double check that. But he relative to like horrible quarterback play. I'm not saying he's been great this year, but he's not worthy of this. Josh McDaniels, I've been calling for his job the whole year. Maybe this puts him over the edge where they just say, what is wrong with you? Why would you do this? Or he's already in cahoots with the GM working towards next year, building a roster. But yeah, go ahead, Christian, and then we'll touch on the Devontae side of things as well. But
no, I'll have a question after I just list off some things that I've seen over the weeks, and just my personal opinion on Derek Carr. Is he a top 5 quarterback in the league? Absolutely not. However, I know how a lot of people feel about Dak Prescott. I know his job is not close to being in jeopardy. Dak Prescott in 5 less games. I understand he's going to have less touchdowns than Derek Carr. 5 less games. They have the same amount of interceptions. I understand we see it all through Twitter, like, oh, it was last game. Derek Carr had one that were tipped off his hands, Thursday night, and they like went into the so sure, all right, well, 13. Okay. But again, 5 less games. And people are like, oh, he's leading the league. Like 14 in a 17-game season. I get he's played 15 games, but like Stafford had more last year and they won a Super Bowl. Movie had 7 or 18 for the full season. There's the Giants got in playoffs and Eli Manning had like 20. And that was all back in 16-game seasons. So I feel like Derek Carr is now getting this unnecessary hate where not even a year ago, he was getting all the praise for having an interim head coach. His wide receiver one, I'm not even going to make any
Hunter Renfrow
comments but the one before that, the guy who was driving, playing Need for Speed.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. That's kind of a big deal to lose a guy, especially with,
first round pick, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and he was fast, man. He was running like a 4.3. We see guys like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, like just speed kills, especially in today's NFL. And I just never mind. Very poor choice of words. But you get the idea that Derek Carr last year was viewed in a very different light. A lot of people had probably in their, I would say consensus top 10, but definitely the above half of quarterbacks in the NFL. So my question to both of you, and Jake, if you want to go first, just want to see where you stand on Derek Carr. Where do you think he lands next year, and does it help them? Because I want to see him on the Jets so badly. I think if he goes to the Jets, they go like 14-3.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I have a large feeling that he's going to find his way in New York, and if it's not New York, I honestly could see maybe Houston. But because Houston, they might look to the draft to go defensively or offensively to just continue building around weapon wise instead of just going all in on a quarterback you might not have a feel for. But New York to me is the number one possibility in my honest opinion. And I just did some minor digging here. Las Vegas defensive wise last season had the number 3 defense.
Wow.
And then this year they have the 25th ranked defense. So it's not all Derek Carr.
That's a huge swing.
It's a Josh McDaniels effect right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Houston's interesting. I think I would say probably not, because when you get the number 1 overall pick, you usually take I just feel like it'd be weird for them to trade back. Not that I wouldn't like that situation, but I think to get an aging quarterback probably is not their MO right now, but I think that's interesting. New York, I actually hadn't thought about that because I'm so locked in on I think Brady might end up there, man. I'm starting to really believe that. But
you think Brady will go to the Jets?
I could see it, man. I really
play the Patriots twice a year.
I really could see it. The dude's chasing rings. He's LeBron at this point. He's chasing rings, trying to join good rosters. But yeah, the one for Carr that I'm surprised nobody mentioned, Indy. I mean, they do this all the time. But
if you're an aging quarterback, do you want to go to Indianapolis? If you're a veteran QB, is that?
I mean, I'm just gonna be honest though. Like, I may sound extremely naive because I feel like I've said this like 3 years running, but I think that Derek Carr would be a clear upgrade for Indianapolis from Matt Ryan. And if they keep upgrading and working their way up, man, they might actually have a team.
No, what's funny is people said the same thing this year, especially you. You were like, oh, this team's going to go to the Super Bowl because they got Matt Ryan and he's way better than Carson Wentz. And even before that, people are like, well, Carson Wentz is better athletically than Phillip Rivers. And like, the team's cursed. That's all I gotta say. Derek Carr's gonna go there and have the worst season of his life. His career will be over, just like everyone else before him. It's a Colts thing.
The Andrew Luck curse or whatever.
It's totally like Andrew Luck on the way out was like, there's never gonna be a quarterback like me, and there hasn't. Like literally, the best option was Jacoby Brissett. I'll say it.
I think Wentz was their biggest miss. Getting rid of Wentz, that is. I'm not saying he had an immaculate season, but it was clearly a mistake to move on that quickly. But for Carr, one more team that did come to mind. Well, two more actually, but one that I don't think will make the move is the Commanders. But I think it would be a pretty decent fit because they've got that good defense and they've got a lot of decent receivers. But the one that really entices me, and this goes with a pairing of potentially a new staff, New Orleans. They've been in quarterback, rotational, whatever you want to call it, for since Breeze retired. And I think that, despite the memes, Derek Carr would definitely be an upgrade from Andy Dalton for sure, and Jameis Winston. And he could provide some stability for, the young core there. Kamara still got a lot of juice left, and Chris Olave's, he's brilliant with Andy Dalton. So I can only imagine what he'd look like if he had a guy like Carr.
Very true. No, I actually like that situation, or hypothetical situation. Wow. Okay. No. I think we kind of got. I mean, for just ranking sake, right now, where do you guys hold Derek Carr? Is he in your top 15, top 20?
I think that's the range. I'd have to crunch the numbers, but he's middle of the pack at this point. I would have put him around 12 to 13 at the start of the year, maybe. I'd have to. Actually, I could probably go back and look at what I put him at, but yeah, I think that's where he was around before, a little bit before 15, and I'd probably back him up a little bit behind him, but still around the midpoint.
Yeah, I'm running around the same range. I'd probably say 13, 14 right now. I honestly can't think of any other guys. I'd rather have him over Mariota. That's all I'm going to say at the end of the day. So
yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
Okay. But would you take him over Jarrett Stidham?
Well, apparently Josh McDaniels would. So who knows?
That is the most Patriots biased thing I've ever seen. I swear. I guarantee you, because Stidham was with the Patriots last year with McDaniels. Guarantee you, he's like, oh, I know this guy can play. He thinks he's pulling out Tom Brady, and I just can't wait for the Raiders to crumble these last two games.
I've never I've never despised. I never thought it was possible to despise a head coach like the way I despise Josh McDaniels. This guy is just
bad, man.
You're so right. It's just an ego thing that he's pulling this guy out. He doesn't give a rip about the rest of the team, the locker room, or anything. And he just shows up, benches this guy who's been through, through the ringer for this franchise last year and all this stuff. And yeah, I hate this guy with so much bias. I'm not even a Raiders fan or that big of a Derek Carr fan, but it's just just wrong on top of just being a bad coach, man. But the interesting side of this, what's your guys' opinions on Davante Adams this year? He went there to play with his college buddy, who now is not with the team, according to Derek Carr himself. And he has now been alienated by his head coach. He posted on Instagram. Let me read this to you guys. Let me pull it up. But before I read it, go ahead. Give your thoughts on Davante Adams.
Yeah, I'll start us off here. And me and you had a minor discourse the other day, and you said the Chiefs. Davante gets traded to the Chiefs somehow. And
please no.
And no, that was my reaction. Is that would ruin the NFL? That would be the end. Patrick and Davante would simply be the end for any team that wants to win a Super Bowl. That would be it. That's what I think could happen if the Chiefs have the cap space to go for it. Other than that, he just rides through hell and sticks in the Raiders system for the next 3 seasons.
Oh.
I don't see him doing that. And I quote from Davante himself: "This man gave everything he had. The reason I'm a Raider, one of the most disciplined and loving people I know, got my brothers back through whatever. And if you can't respect it, excuse my language. Middle finger emoji, you. Shrug emoji, shrug. Love you, bro."
Middle finger emoji. No, I don't mean to cut you off, but if Devontae, granted, the Chiefs go and make a trade, it's different. But it's similar if he goes to that offense, like the KD signing with the Warriors.
No,
I
it's
mean, they
not because
already
he'd be
helped
He'd
Travis
have to be
Kelce.
traded. That's different.
But it's the view of like this is
And-
going to be the best offense we've ever seen.
All right, so here's what I just thought of. Now, this, as both of us could scare a Packer fan and even a Viking fan. What team has the most cap space going into the next season? That is Chicago. Who does not have that number one?
It's not a
receiver?
bad. It's not
That
a
is
bad.
Chicago. Chicago goes all in. We have to face Fields and Devontae.
What would they have to give up though?
They would have to give up.
What do they have to give up? Like
a top 2 pick this year, I believe. I think they're at 2 right now.
Oh man, you're not wrong.
Yeah,
that might be the one.
Yeah.
That might be the best. I don't know, man. When it comes, go ahead.
Oh no, because that's a really good one, but actually going to stay in the same division because this might be more frightening. The Lions actually, they have that Broncos pick, which I believe is at 3 right now, so they could actually be in contention. I'd have to look up the cap numbers, but Goff in terms of quarterback money is on a reasonable deal. I'm pretty sure if they just shed some maybe some contracts, but they already traded like Hawkinson and oh boy. That would be entertaining too. Now, Devontae wanting to go to Detroit, I don't even know if he'd sign off on that. He might just be like, "I'm retired," like Gronk did. But
full of Gronk.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. I hope he just like. I mean, I hope he just comes back to the Packers, but at least stays out in the AFC. Like, not trying to see.
I don't think he's coming back to the Packers, man. We cannot afford this contract at all. He's not coming back to the Packers. He might end up where Rodgers ends up. That could happen, but it ain't going to be Green Bay. You talk about all time. I mean, I've said this before, but you talk about all time like contract blunders. This has got to be up there, man. Depending on how this plays out, like he's got to be up there with. Well, no, but I'm talking about like Le'Veon Bell, Melvin Gordon. The player makes the decision. Like Russ is, I can't really think of a worse trade off the top of my head. Maybe we can do that another day.
I mean, the Herschel Walker trade for me.
Yeah, that's the only one that, or the Ricky Williams trade that comes to mind, where it's like, but yeah, when it comes to like, wanting out and going somewhere new, he's had success on the field this year, but this is bad, man. He's going to be stuck with Josh McDaniels for 4 more years. I'm afraid that seems like the likely scenario here. And unless he holds out and demands a trade, which is entirely possible, because he is 30. He's 30. He'll be 35 by the time 34 by the time his contract's up. I mean, this is a conversation where he's like, if I want to win a championship, I know it's not going to be here. So, but I would counter argue, if he wanted to win a championship, he would have stayed in Green Bay. Because he was offered the same money to stay. So maybe that's not his MO. But yeah, and before we move on, I mean, any closing, I think Chicago, that's probably the best idea of the group. I don't see the Raiders trading Kansas City in the division. I was just kind of throwing that out because it would be insanity. And I could see him just ending on a team like Kansas City, Buffalo. These teams already have wide receiver ones, except Kansas City. So, but yeah, any thoughts?
No, I'm set. I mean, I think the Bears is not the most likely, because we don't really even know what the most likely one is, but it could be the most probable and this the most realistic, especially for the Bears. They need someone. Chase Claypool, he hasn't done anything, and then Mooney's still Mooney. They literally have a running back at quarterback. I mean, we all thought Lamar was a running back. This guy is the quarterback running back.
I think he's better. I think he's a better passer than Lamar, in my opinion.
I don't want to go down that road. I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah, I think Fields has got a bigger arm, but in terms of accuracy, he's
coming out of college. That's what he was known for. He wasn't even known as a runner in college. He was known for accuracy.
Oh, I understand, but like this year, and you can blame some of that on the receivers.
Well, when his receivers get no separation,
Yeah, but does do Lamar's either? Like, let's be honest. Devin
Mark
Duvernay,
Andrews does.
35.
Mark Andrews is
Okay.
his only guy.
Right. I mean, if tight ends really your
All
only
right,
guy,
all right, all right.
too.
I do have one more thought here. Are we? What's your guys' thoughts on the fact? Are we looking at like a Bronny James situation? In the fact that whatever team signs Derek Carr this offseason might also be getting Devontae Adams. Do you think that's a possibility that they come as a package deal?
I don't think so. I think that's going to be a hard swing, especially for an organization to trade both guys. Unless is Derek Carr a free agent going into this season?
I think they can get rid of his contract fairly easily.
They can cut
Okay.
him and save like 30 million.
Yeah.
I remember the number. It might be like 29.8, but yeah, it wouldn't be a whole lot of dead money for them. And then they'd still have the flexibility to trade Devontae if they wanted to. But I'm kind of with Jake here in the sense that it's going to be kind of tough because like people saw this before. You know, like literally this year, it's like, oh, he wants to go play with Derek Carr, and we saw it worked out. I don't think teams, and even the deal I think Derek Carr is going to get, it's probably going to be decent because there's going to be a market, but he's not going to get that, 30, $40 million money.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking it might even be under 20 million. But we'll see.
The other guy in here that we haven't mentioned too, I think the Raiders are also going to lose Josh Jacobs. So you talk about an all-time just team blow up from Josh McDaniels here in week 17.
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody think he's going to stay? Because he's a free agent.
Yeah, he's gone. Again, he's the kind of a guy that we could see going anywhere, but going to the Chiefs could also going in division. Those guys need a running back. I could see that something like that happening, or even Seattle if the Kenneth Walker thing doesn't work out because he is injured. And Seattle likes to run the ball. I could see Pete Carroll getting his hands on a guy like that and trying to make something work.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, with running backs, I feel like it's wide open. You can pinpoint with number one receivers like Devontae. I mean, you can pinpoint maybe a couple teams that would be interested. Josh Jacobs could end up anywhere, in my opinion. He's going to ask for a lot more money than he's going to get, in my opinion, because people don't pay running backs that much. But some sucker will.
Somebody will. Yeah.
Some sucker will.
Year.
And they'll get locked into this contract because he blew up on his last year. So I don't have a massive prediction, honestly. Running backs are a dime a dozen. So maybe the Jets to pair with Breece Hall, but I doubt it. Maybe if the Giants lose Saquon, maybe. But we'll see.
I love this offseason coming up this year. I'll tell you that. There's some
That's
teams
true.
that are going to look completely different, a lot of cap room. There's like actually a pretty good handful of like big market names. I mean, and the fact that Tom Brady's going to have another free agency kind of stint here is entertaining already.
Yeah.
But no, man.
Yeah. Let's pivot. Before we dive into our picks, let's just kick it off. Packers Vikings. We can take our time with this one.
All right.
We don't need to set the stage. I'm sure most of the viewers already know. I mean, the Vikings division champions at this point, fighting for the number one seed. They've got something if they can catch the Eagles, who are on their backup quarterback again, I believe, this week. They could steal that number one seed. However, I think
already got the merch. Already got the division champ merch.
Oh my God.
We're riding high. We're riding high. Let's go.
Vikings, like I said, division champs. Packers have come from 4-8 to 7-8. Have miraculously found themselves in a fairly likely, if they can win out, playoff berth spot. But if they can win out, is tough because they've lost to the two teams they have to play, and they're both division rivals. So we'll start with the guests. Jake, your thoughts on this week in Green Bay?
All right, I'm going to start with my biased take. My biased take is Jefferson's going to go for 12 catches and 250. He's going to get 2K this game. He's going to have a couple of touchdowns in Jareer.
How far away is he?
244.
244. Okay. I thought it was a little higher than that, but okay.
And he's just going to make Alexander his child. I think that's what's going to happen. He called him out this week, and I think he's going to try and go off. Unbiased take is it's just going to be another nail biter clincher of a game, and it's going to come down to the wire, and someone's going to have to kick a field goal or drive down the field for a last second touchdown.
Christian, here we go.
Yeah, no, I mean, the Justin Jefferson thing is, personally, as a Packers fan, when Jair Alexander came out and said that, I think he's overrated. Vastly overrated.
Are you talking about Alexander?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Justin Jefferson, in my opinion, earlier in the show, was like, this guy could be an MVP candidate. Jair Alexander made the Pro Bowl, and it's like, why? He was part of the reason. I mean, he got burned by Terry McLaurin. That cost us the game. He's just one of those guys, like, even like Jalen Ramsey, like in an early part of his career, was like a top tier corner in the NFL, and he's just not anymore. I think that's just a short shelf life. Jair Alexander, all his talking, he reminds me of Josh Norman. And I think he's hit that Josh Norman phase where, like,
no, who was the guy when we played Julio in 2016, or he was like, we just gotta pray, man.
I don't even think he's on the roster.
We just gotta pray.
It was either like Kevin King or like Devon House, like somebody that was just garbage.
Was it? Wasn't Morgan Burnett?
No, he was a safety. I remember it being one of our corners. It was totally one of our corners. I'll have to look that up. That
is what I was reminded of when Jair went out sounding like Kermit the Frog this week and saying that Jefferson's game in week 1 was a fluke.
Yeah, that was just a very, very poor take. And even people were like posting clips on Twitter of him like torching Alexander week 1. But my take is we're all talking about week 1. Right? It is now week 17. We've seen both these teams throughout the year. The Packers are getting hot at the right time. I would argue. I mean, the Vikings, they won a nail biter against the Giants. We understand that team is pretty good this year, but Caleb, you've been calling them frauds all year. And honestly, the Giants hold everybody close. The Colts scare last week would have been really funny, 2 weeks ago, if they would have lost that game. But in terms of my opinion, man, like they're not like hot right now, the Vikings. Yeah, like in terms of record-wide, sure. But I believe their point differentials, like they're a little bit above 0.
Okay.
Like, they're winning very close games against poor teams.
I've been waiting all year to get on this podcast to debunk the point differential. No one has ever talked about point differential in the history of debating teams. I've never heard it until this year. It's another reason the national media,
that's pretty fair.
The national media is just diminishing the success that the Vikings are barely having. Honestly, if they didn't have Jefferson, we'd probably have 5 wins. And then 11 one-score games in a row. Come on now. We got to take a little bit, like, that's cool, that's awesome. The last team to do anything like this was, I think, Seattle in 2012. They won 10. They were 10-2 in one-score games that season.
Yeah, I said that last week. I said, at what point do I actually look in the mirror and say this team is so good at winning one-score games that they have a chance to win a couple playoff games? Because that's what they are. That's what playoff games are. Yeah, when it comes to the national media slander on the Vikings, I have to at least acknowledge it as a Packers fan. I'm not saying I think the Vikings are Super Bowl favorites by any means, but they do catch a lot of flack. And Kirk specifically, who I actually don't dislike at all, gets a lot of slander for really just being a guy who looks like a dad. Like if we're being honest, man, like he gets a lot of slander. He's had a great career.
Band, he's just got the outfit, the style, like everything he screams just dad, Michigan dad.
Yeah, Michigan dad. Yeah, that's very well put. When it comes to this week, I like to rewind the tape and let's go back to week 1, man, and what went wrong for the Packers. The first play that comes to mind, obviously, is that Christian Watson drop. And that Christian Watson has definitely disappeared. He has become come into his own and become a serious offensive threat. Whatever nerves existed, don't exist anymore for the rookie. Rodgers is in a groove. Say what you want about the Love situation, but the team is definitely a completely different team than it was in week 1. With that being said, defensively, I don't think they're that much different. I really don't. I think they're still poor. And it's going to come down to whether Barry can call a different game, because we were leaving Jefferson at points in that game. What he was barely covered by Alexander in that game, and at points was literally uncovered in the slot. He was being covered by Preston Smith. It was just one of the most horribly called games you can ever imagine, because we were sitting in zone. Nobody's guarding Jefferson. I mean, the guy was getting wide open every other play. Now, he does that against a lot of teams, but at least it's against man coverage. So I'm at least hoping we can have somebody in the vicinity of him this week. With that being said, though, in Green Bay, I think it's going to be a nail-biting game. I think it's going to be a one-score game, and the Vikings have proven that that's where they get their money. So, we'll see. I'm not saying it's impossible that the Vikings can lose a one-score game. I think weather could be a factor, but I don't think – I looked at the forecast. It's just going to be cold. There's no snow. There's no nothing in Green Bay. So, yeah, you guys can, keep the debate running. But
I'm doing some glancing at some defensive statistics here. More than I'm looking at it, I don't even know if the game plan is going to really feed Jefferson that much. I mean, you guys are allowing 144 yards on the ground this season, and when you're facing a top 5 running back, who can also catch the ball in the backfield, that's something you got to worry about. I mean, I know you guys have had some injuries along the defense this season, but being 27th ranked on the ground just frightens me. And I know what he did to you guys a couple of years ago and went off for 4 touchdowns and took the game over, but
5 touchdowns, I believe. Actually,
5 touchdowns, yeah. So that's honestly going to be my big take is you got to sell out for the run, just enough, because if you can't stop the run, they're just going to completely air it out.
Look, if I were the DC, I would just simply say make them run it. That's going to shorten the game. It's going to keep scoring down, which I think is what you need. And you guys have proven I don't think you're that committed to running the ball. Just gonna be like,
that's when your head coach is a former quarterback. That's
been the main difference I've seen all year with the Vikings is they'll come out, they'll give Cook and Madison maybe 25, 30 carries one week, and then the next week it's like 8. They're very it's unpredictable. So I would hope from a Vikings perspective, they would notice that and at least get the ball to those guys, run the ball 20 times at least in this game. But I can't guarantee it. It's not like they're the Eagles who are going to, or the Titans of old, right, who are going to run the ball like that. So, Jake, I'll ask you this question. Moving on from the Packers talk this week, what's your long-term hopes, thoughts for the Vikings in the playoffs?
So, biasly, I'm going to take my bias take here, and I can say we're going to take it all the way to the moon, win the Super Bowl. But at the end of the
Christian's
day,
been saying that all year, and it's not true. So,
and at the end of the day, I understand the history and the curse that this team possesses, and then they do this every time they're good. They give you hope, they build you up, and then the second round of the playoffs or the NFC Championship game, they completely tear you down, bring you to the ground. You're crying on the floor in the fetal position. You got nothing left. And then it's 5 years of mediocre football. And then once or twice a decade, we'll make a run for it. So I hope finally with a competent offensive-minded coach, we can keep some sort of continuity with the offense, especially. We've had a new coordinator ever since Zimmer and Kirk were a thing. And then with that, I mean, Jefferson, he's going to have his 5th-year option so he's got next year's contract, his 5th-year option, and then his extension will take fold. So I think extension-wise, that money won't be seen for a couple of seasons. So cap-wise, they can make it work. Hawkinson, he is due for almost $10 million. So we're going to have to make some moves. I think Delvin's gone next season. I think Thielen's probably gone next season. But this year alone, I think we're in the NFC Championship division round, depending on who our matchup is. If we play San Francisco, there's nothing. We're screwed. If we can play, if we play the Cowboys, I think we have a shot of beating the Cowboys and either going into Philly or something like that and making it a game. But I think we can go toe to toe with any of these teams except San Francisco. my honest opinion is San Francisco makes it out of the NFC this year, and that who represents this conference.
That is a very cold and popular take. Yeah, I you're basically repeating everything I've at least said on this show. I know Christian's gone as far. It might have been me. One of us went as far to say that they weren't going to win a playoff game. I think I've revamped. I said, they're not getting out of the divisional. But I've started to open up a little bit to the realm of possibility. Look, they're in a one-score game. They can beat anybody. But the reality is when they played Dallas, it was not a one-score game by any means. And same thing with Philly. And San Francisco looks really good. I think the crucial thing for the Vikings playoff hopes right now, they got to win this. They got to win out to give themselves. They got to give a win out to give themselves a chance to get that 1 seed. Because if they have to go to Philadelphia or to Dallas or to San Francisco, which I don't think they'd have to do because they have more wins, but mainly to Philadelphia, say in the NFC Championship, I don't think they can win that game. I really don't. And you guys have your history there, not only this year, but the Minnesota Miracle, that's it. So you're talking about NFC Championship blunders. You've got plenty of ammo on us, so relax a little bit. But I don't think they can go to Philly and win. But if Philly comes to Minnesota, that's a really good home field advantage. I'm not saying anything. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but they definitely have a much better chance of winning that game.
My take is the Philly game. If it is the NFC Championship and we're at Philly, the way I look at Week 2 Minnesota versus Week 17 Minnesota is that was the second game of the year. They didn't have that. They weren't the comeback kids or the cardiac kids at that point yet. So, that's where I'm looking at is that they've been able to groom themselves through these comeback wins to be able to be in the playoffs. And if they are down a couple scores, I don't think they sweat it. So that's kind of where a lot of teams are like, do you want to face the Vikings? Oh yeah, because they're always down or they always have to come back. But I don't think that's true in the playoffs because if a team is good at being down and coming back and being resilient, I think that mental aspect kind of pulls away from some of the other things in terms of, it's the
I do agree. However, I also would say that Week 17 Philly is not Week 2 Philly. This team has only gotten better as the years went on, and they almost beat the Cowboys last week with Gardner Minshew throwing for almost 400 yards. So this team is stacked in almost every position. But it will be interesting come the NFC playoffs. Christian, this is your floor for your Vikings playoff analysis.
I think you guys are both going to be shocked here because I'm going to go completely unbiased. I bring up the point differential for a reason. I know we don't talk about it a lot, but it's because it doesn't get brought up with these teams that are usually 13-2. However, you can't deny it. Like Jake brought up, 11 wins in close games. They are finding ways to win. I do believe part of that is a tribute to Kevin O'Connell. And look, there's no way around it. You look at Justin Jefferson's numbers, Kirk Cousins. This is an elite, efficient passing offense. So when we're talking about the comeback kids, when you have that good of a passing offense, you can get down at any point and come back. And that is reminiscent to me almost of the firepower the Bengals had last year. And even really in this year going in still have. But, it's almost at times conservative in the sense of like if the Vikings play to their full potential, this team could go to the Super Bowl. If Kirk Cousins is throwing for 300 and Justin Jefferson's getting 150, there's no reason they wouldn't get there. They still have Dalvin Cook behind them. They have all the pieces, but like we brought up before, the history is just you're just like it's why we balk at the Cowboys every year, no matter who they have. And look, bottom line, I didn't even ask a question for tomorrow's game. What time are the games? If they're all during the day, the Vikings may just go all the way to the Super Bowl. But we know in the Super Bowl that's going to be a primetime game, so
I think it's an afternoon window tomorrow.
Right, so like it's definitely gonna be close, but in the playoffs, if they get that like noon 3:25 window, they'll be all right. If they got to go to Philly in primetime or San Fran, season's chalked. It's just effect.
I don't even think it's Kirk Cousins at this point. The Achilles heel of the Vikings.
Not this year, no.
No, just the Achilles heel all year of the Vikings that we have yet to really talk about is this defense is really poor, man. And I've been harping on it all year, but the reality is they're not the Philadelphia defense. They're not the Dallas defense. They're not the San Francisco defense. And
you know, I don't want to cut you off real quick, but they play well when they need to. Kind of like the Bengals last year, like with that Colts
no, the
comeback,
Bengals
they let it
defense
bleed, and then all of a
the
sudden they
Bengals
tightened
defense
up. Like
is better than the Vikings. I'm just going to be honest.
this year for sure. But I'm
No,
saying
even
like
last
they
year.
didn't get
Last year's Bengals was better than this year's Vikings.
Okay.
They never got blown out 37-3.
Yeah, but you know, that was what back in. I'm just thinking, like, you know, as of late, how this team's playing, they've I'm not saying they've tightened down, and I'm not saying they're a great defense. I'm just saying when their offense is that explosive, they can tighten down what they need to. But I agree with you. If they think like the defense is going to be the leader in this game, and like the defense is going to save them, and no, like the Vikings need to play well offensively all playoffs, not mediocre, not in a solid game. Like Kirk Cousins needs to have like a Joe Flacco type run.
Yeah. All right.
Funny to say it, but Joe Flacco was elite in that playoff run.
Okay. Let's pivot. Let's talk the rest of the league, week 17. Rest of the league, week 17. Because I know we got to keep it rolling a little bit here. So we'll kick it off. Jake, celebrity picks this week. We'll see how you do. But we already did our fantasy frenzy draft. But we picked the Cowboys. We all got the win on Thursday night. So we're all 1-0 to start the week. What first game of the window? This one's a doozy of two poor teams. Cardinals are going into Atlanta. Who do you got?
Oh, bro.
I got Falcons over Cardinals. Their strength of schedule. They're just a better team overall. I mean, their quarterback isn't Tracy McSorley. So I'm going Falcons. It's just one of those games at the end of the season that doesn't matter, and Falcons take the cake on this one.
I'm gonna have to concur. I like the Falcons here. This is probably the last time I pick them all year, but I actually just hate the Cardinals so much that I don't think I can bring myself to pick them. So it's very clear that their coach is fired in about 13 days or 15 days, whatever it is. And Trace McSorley, love the guy. He's a kid from Briarwood wearing number 9, but he did go toe to toe with Brady last week. But I'll go with the Falcons here.
Brady scare, and honestly, the Trace McSorley thing makes me more inclined to take the Cardinals more than I ever have all year.
Oh boy,
I'm gonna go with Falcons though. I got the Texans upset last week. I'm not gonna push my luck. Gonna go with the Falcons. They're definitely just a better team.
Yeah, just so you know, you are up 5 games. You have 141, and I have 136. So you do have a 5-game lead heading into this week.
Shout out to Davis Mills, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Helping me out big time.
That's crazy. All right, Dolphins in New England. Who you guys got?
I'm going Dolphins. I'm Teddy Two Gloves. Takes him home, gets the win on the road, and that's my take. I don't see the Belichick magic this season. We all saw that Raiders game, and I honestly think that the Dolphins find a way. I think Mike McDaniels is a young offensive minded coach and finds a way to get the win. That's my take.
That is fair. I could see Teddy Two Gloves giving them the spark they need after losing a couple, but I'm gonna have to take the Patriots because Tua's out. This game is gonna be in the cold. The Dolphins struggle there, and really, they're the coldest team in football right now, man. I'm gonna be honest; they are really cold, and division matchup, Belichick backup quarterback. It's too tempting, man. I gotta take the risk.
I'm going actually to side with the Dolphins here. As many times this year I side with Belichick. And I'm saying this as a Packers fan. We would have lost that game last week if Tua didn't get concussed in the second quarter. Didn't you find it a little fishy that this man just starts he turned into Tua turned the ball over like that? Like they were kind of rolling, had a big play. I'm like, oh geez, like here we go. And then he just gets concussed for like the 3rd or 4th time. Whoever even knows at this point for the year. That's just some scary stuff. And look, I don't think Teddy Bridgewater needs to do a whole lot. It hasn't really been his MO, but he's not throwing the ball over. Jeez, the ring to it. But if you can just get the ball to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, which is very easy. I'm with him in the sense that like the Belichick magic this year after that Jacoby Myers thing, that was so uncharacteristic of a Belichick team. I think he's probably not going to coach much longer. He's an old man. Like as much as he loves the game, he's got to give it up at some point. Just call it what it is. It was one of the best coaches we ever seen. Dolphins need this win too. They're very cold, but they need to get it done. I think they do.
That's fair. All right, I can go first on the next one. Saints in Philadelphia. I'm taking Philly. No explanation needed here.
Yeah, and Minshew's, in my opinion, a starting quarterback in this league. You go check the numbers. He was doing really well in Jacksonville when they didn't have anybody.
Yeah.
They literally pulled him at one point because they were winning games. So I think he deserves a shot somewhere. It is with New Orleans next year. But yeah, Philly all the way.
So I got a couple upset takes this week. And this is one of them.
Oh,
This is
yeah.
one of them. This is one of them.
Oh, yeah.
I'm taking Saints over the Eagles.
I know what you're doing. You're building the path to the number one seed.
I might be subconsciously, but the Saints have a chance. The Saints need this win. It's Saints, Bucks, and it's Panthers. They're all three in contention for that division. The Saints need this win. I think Cam Jordan is going to go off. He's going to have a big game. And then the Red Rocket doesn't turn the ball over, and he does what he has to do to get the win.
We love upset takes
Rocket.
here. We respect all upset takes. Those are the best.
The path, man. I see the path.
I see the path. Envision the path. Colts in New York against the Giants. As much as I love my Indianapolis Colts, they have really taken a turn here in the last couple of weeks. I'm going to have to take New York to clinch the playoffs here.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say. Yeah, New York.
Moving on.
Sweeping that one. Sweep that one through.
All right, here's the big one of the week. The one that I think the mid game of the week, I guess. Panthers in Tampa Bay. Really, winner takes the division, I believe, is the stakes here. I think the Saints could catch in a weird scenario. If I'm not sure, but
it's probably some like tie.
Yeah, it's a weird scenario. But Panthers at Bucks. I'm not going first. Christian, how about you? You haven't gone first yet.
Yeah, no, that's all cool. I've made up my mind because it's a win either way. What happens I think the Buccaneers are going to win this game. I'll pick them to win. But if they lose, Tom Brady is going to get harassed online. Like, I can't wait to see it. This guy's been gifted a playoff spot this year.
And he can't get it.
I would say if they can't capitalize on this, that's all. It's going to be great. It's going to be great either way, but I'm not going to bet against Tom Brady in a clutch situation.
That's fair enough. I go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, I'm betting against him. I'm taking the Panthers.
Yeah.
It's Steve Wilkes has his team playing hard. They're going crazy. I mean, Sam Darnold with the beard, he's got the resurgence coming through. I mean, the Panthers have a shot. I mean, you guys picked the Panthers at the beginning of the year to win this division. I think they come through. So I'm going Panthers over Bucks. Panthers over Bucks.
Did I do that?
Okay. I think you might. I don't know if I took him. I was definitely high on him. I did not think Brady was going to be this bad this year. Well, not bad, but Buccaneers.
All right. I'm on the fence here. I'm going to lean one last time. I guess I got to ride with the GOAT here, just because. I'm really hurting for this because I do not want to have to do this. But Buccaneers is my pick, just because I just kind of what you said. If he loses this game, man, this is bad. So
worse. It's been for a long time for him.
Yeah. I got to go Bucks. That takes us to what I believe will be a layup. But Broncos are going into Kansas City this week for a nice division matchup. I'm taking the Chiefs, but what about you guys?
I'm going to call this another one of those sweeper games. Chiefs over Broncos, and nothing else we got to talk about.
I'll tell you what. For my upset pick of the week, it will not be this one.
No.
Oh, man, you got me so excited. You got me so excited.
Had us in the first
Yeah,
half.
the little pump fake.
Yeah.
I have been burned by this Broncos team too much this year. Nope.
All right.
How you
all
doing?
right.
Keep it moving, man.
Bears.
Keep the train going. Keep the train
Bears
going.
at Lions. Moving into a crucial NFC North matchup for the Lions here if they're going to find a way to sneak in after losing. What are your guys' thoughts?
I can see this game going either way. This game was one of the few games that took me a while to think of because the Lions allowed 200 rushing yards in the first half last week. As you mentioned, one of the most Detroit things we've seen in a while. And Chicago has one of the best running backs in the league in Justin Fields. So I mean, I think Chicago does end up with a slight 2 or 3 point advantage over the Lions. But in the end, I can see this game going either way. I think it's one of those few 50-50 games we have left.
That's fair. That's fair.
I like the Lions. I hear the Fields argument, and to be honest with you, if this game was a couple weeks ago, I would actually probably pick the Bears. I think Dan Campbell is probably going to have the speech of his life, and as long as Goff isn't atrocious, the Lions should win. The sense the Bears. If I'm a Bears fan, I'd almost be upset if you win this game. I think they need to try and hold on to that number 2 pick for dear life. And
I agree. I think that the Bears are very capable of beating this Lions team, but the Lions are 7-8,
Right.
and they still have a backdoor chance to have a winning record this year, which I think means something to them. And the Bears, they are just really incentive. They have no incentive to win this game. They literally have zero incentive to get to 4-12, especially if the Texans can win a weird game where the Jaguars might sit some guys and get to 3-12 against if I'm the Bears, I'm score watching for that number 1 pick, and if I get that number 1 pick, I'm probably trading back too. But I'm taking the Lions just on the fact that I think the Bears are not incentivized to win this game at all. But that takes us to Browns at Commanders. What are your guys' thoughts here? It's a very interesting matchup, but go ahead, Christian.
Ooh.
Not to put you
I
on the
think
spot.
Carson Wentz has a day. I think he has a day.
Okay.
When he played, he really wasn't that bad. And, I think people love to hate him and they love to love Heineke. But, Heineke got benched for a reason. I mean, the Commanders have been ice cold. And Carson Wentz just hopefully provides a spark, man. Hopefully he's reckless. He throws for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns, probably a couple turnovers. But that's what you get with him. I'll take the Commanders. But I could see the Browns just playing safe and rolling with this. I see this both ways.
Yeah. I have a stat that I would like to share that backs up my upset pick of the week here. Since our teams that have played San Francisco, they are 0-13 after playing San Francisco. So there's been a couple that have had buys. There's been a couple that have had buys. There's been a couple, but the teams that have played the following week after playing San Francisco are 0-13. I think the Browns are going to win this. I'm betting with the trend. This is I guess you can call this an upset, but I think the trend continues. San Francisco is doing something to beat these guys up, and I think the Browns. In a toss-up game, I'm taking that as my edge to take the Browns. Jake, how about you?
Yeah, I'm taking the Commanders here again over the Browns. The Browns are kind of dead in the water. Their season is over. It's been over for the last couple of weeks. They have no incentive to win, and the Commanders need to clinch that playoff spot and kind of just keep themselves afloat, especially with Seattle and the Lions on their tail. Commanders need this win, and they win this one here.
Solid pick. I have to agree with everything you guys said about the Commanders, but I need to catch Christian. So I'm finding
That's a great
reasons.
trend too. I didn't even 0-13. Wow, that is.
All right, Jaguars at Texans. I'll go first here. I think I'm going to take the Jaguars. I know I haven't said that they might lose this game because they've got nothing to play for, but the Texans, I think it's the same thing. They're at that point where they got that second win, and it's like, well, do we really want to win that third and jeopardize the number one overall pick? So I will be taking the Jaguars here.
Chen, I'll let you go on this one. I got a little bit of a take here coming up, so I'm gonna go.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go last.
Okay. I'm hoping I don't beat you to the punch, because I am really entertaining thinking about the Texans. They won last week, but this is I just can't physically, as much as it makes sense for them to beat a Jaguars team that, because the game doesn't matter, man. I think Doug Peterson will have them just play. Yeah, I'll take the Jags. I'm gonna be really upset if the Texans win 2 straight and I didn't call it and I thought about it, but I just don't think they're talented enough to like this is a 2-win team. When I look at the Texans roster, they just don't got it.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry, but no, I'm curious. Where's your head at, Jake?
All right, yeah. So number one, I am getting ready for work here, so my video feed's cut off, but I'm still gonna stick with you guys even on the drive. But
No
I
worries.
appreciate that.
My take here is the Jaguars have not beaten the Texans dating back since October of 2018.
Wow.
The Texans have the number. The Texans have the Jaguars number. Even back when the Texans or the Jaguars were in the NFC champion or the AFC championship. So this is for me my third upset pick, if you want to count that Bucks Panthers game. This is my third upset. Texans get the win over the Jags, and they improved to 10-0 since 2018. And
what a
this
stat!
Is
what
this
a
is
stat!
it. This is for them.
What a stat! That is wow. That's impressive.
Texans, man.
All right, I got to lay up 49ers at Raiders. Anybody not taking the 49ers?
Not gonna hear any pushback from me.
All right, I'm going to assume Jake's silence means no pushback as well. All right, that takes us to Jets at Seahawks. A very, very interesting game with two teams on the bubble. In Seattle, Jets are cold, ice cold, but they get Mike White back. So this is going to be interesting. I have a policy. I don't bet against the Seahawks at home. I just don't. It's the best home field fan advantage. And this might be a risk. I might like the Jets better with Mike White, but I don't do it, man. I refuse because I win a high percentage of the time with betting on the Seahawks at home. So, floor is yours.
Geno Smith revenge game.
I didn't even think about that.
4 words. That is going to define my take. I think he goes and probably has close to 400 yards, man. I mean, he's been playing really well all year. I think he's going to pop off. It's going to set up a Week 18 must-win for Seattle.
That's fair. Seahawks. Jake, Seahawks, Jets. I know you're in the car, but you have a pick? All right, we must have lost them. But Vikings-Packers, I've already got our picks shoot in. If he comes back, we'll ask him about Seahawks-Jets. But Vikings-Packers, I take the Vikings. I put you down for the Packers and Jake for the Vikings. I don't think there's going to be any contentions here.
Yeah,
I can't pick the Packers. I'm a man of my word. But that takes us to Rams-Chargers. I might just shoe this in for Jake as a Chargers pick because I really would be shocked if you pick the Rams. But are you taking the Rams?
No.
Yeah.
They played really well last week, but that was against the Broncos, so I could care less. Yeah. Chargers need this win too.
Yeah, I would agree. That takes us to Sunday night. Classic Steelers-Ravens. And I am on the fence with this one, so I will let you go first.
Ravens. Definitely roll with the Ravens. Feels like tight games this year. They seem to keep coming through, and that defense
is Lamar healthy?
I'm not sure, but to me it doesn't matter. I think with Lamar they win by like 2 scores, but with Tyler Huntley, I still like this team.
I think I got to take the Steelers here for the sake of making up ground. Just 2 weeks to go.
Honest, man. No, I can respect it. Yeah.
And I could see it. That's the thing too. Steelers Ravens games, anything can happen. So I'll roll with the Steelers here, and that takes us to Monday night. Bills at Bengals. What is your thoughts here? I'm very excited for this game.
A lot.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, and I'm going to take the Bills. I think they're no strangers to cold weather. I don't think Cincinnati has like an amazing home field advantage either. And this is going to go either way. This is just going to be such a fun watch. But, hoping it's high scoring. I just think the Bills are going to win because the Bengals are due for a loss. I don't really know if it's a matter of the results of this game doesn't change the view of either team, if that makes sense, unless it's like a blowout one way or the other. And there's just things I don't see.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm going to take the home team. I'm taking the Bengals. The hottest team in football. This is not a hot take at all. I think this is the true definition of a toss-up game, man. But we could be seeing a future AFC Championship, AFC divisional matchup here. 2 AFC Titans going at it in Week 17 on Monday night. I haven't been this excited for a primetime game in a minute. So, Bills, Bengals. I'm taking the Bengals, and that is the last pick. So, I don't. Jake will get his picks later if he can't hear us, or he must be having some sort of technical difficulties. But as always, we're running out of time. We were going to do who he played for, but we are running a little low on time, so we'll have to bring that back for next week. Hopefully, we'll have Jake back on to do some who he played for and talk. Hopefully a Vikings-Packers recap, and we'll get I'll get his picks from him before obviously next week. But Jake, if you can hear us, thanks for joining us, man. That was a blast. As always, for the rest of you guys, thanks for listening. We always love having new perspectives on, but be sure to send in any, I know Jake said he had some good guys for who he played for. So I definitely want to have him back on.
Oh yeah. No doubt.
So we can get that done. And wait, at the buzzer.
Am
Jake?
I back?
He's back.
He's back.
He's back.
Yes.
He's back. All right, Jets, Seahawks. Who do you got?
I picked the Hawks.
All right.
Okay.
Penciling it in. And then Rams, Chargers. We're assuming Chargers.
No, I picked Rams.
I'm gonna need some rationale. I'm gonna have to have some rationale here.
I think I have 4 upset picks, I think, now after thinking about it. But yeah, I picked Rams. And the reason is because the Chargers, they clinch a playoff spot. To me, now that's surprising enough because they're a 500 fringe playoff team. And now that they have the playoff spot, I think they just coast. I think they just coast to 9-8, and they stick near that classic Chargers record of being at 500 or close to.
This is such a good take.
I'm taking that they take the L this week to Baker and his 51-point game from last week. So
that's a good take, man. That's a good take. Steelers, Ravens. Who do you got?
I think I took the Steel City versus the Ravens. I think Mike Tomlin, he picks his team up. They got TJ Watt back. I think they keep rolling with what they got. And it's Mike Tomlin. I can't pick against Mike Tomlin, and he's trying to get his 13th winning season in a row here. So I think he pulls through.
Yeah.
They're fighting.
Monday night match with the Titans, Bills at Bengals. Who do you got?
Oh man, I got Cincinnati Joe Cool and the Bengals, man.
I know this guy.
He's one of my quarterbacks. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league. I remember watching. I think it was the Citrus Bowl. It was the year before they won the playoffs. And you might call this some LeBron cap here, but I looked at Joe Burrow and I was like, you know what? He's got some stuff going on here. And then next season, I was right. He went for 65 touchdowns and won the Natty Championship. So that's you just had
a feeling.
I just had a feeling, man. I just had an absolute feeling that this Joe Burrow guy, he's gonna win the Natty next year.
Yeah, I do have a question for you. Where were you when Kobe scored 81 points, and did you predict it happening?
I think I was. What year was that again? Was that
It was like 06 or something.
I think
06?
Yeah,
Yeah,
07
I
maybe.
think.
kids.
I think I woke up. I think I woke up in a hot sweat and ran to my mom. I was probably like 5 at the time, and I go, "Mom, I just had a dream. Kobe's going for 81 tonight. And I'm old. He goes for 81."
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
man.
He did it again too. I saw LeBron said something again, and it was the Dirk statue. He was like, "Yeah,
Oh,
I
man.
mean, I just knew that they had to, the fadeaway. It's just iconic. I just knew, before they even revealed the statue, I knew that it was going to
Yeah,
look like
you
that."
just knew. Oh, boy.
He's like, "Oh man, I knew Luka was going to go for 60, 20, and 10. Man, I just had a feeling that night, But yeah,
right.
That was written in the stones. I saw that coming after he was a rookie. I mean, like, dude, this guy's going to go for 60, 20, 10. He's going to be the first guy to do it. He's gonna hit it up.
modern day Wilt. But Jake, we'll have you back on for who he played for. Let you drive to work safely. So don't worry about that. I know you said you had a dynamite guy, so you'll get your chance.
No, I got a dynamite guy, and I'm driving. I got the AirPods in. I want to stump you guys. I got 2 guys here. I got the numbers locked in. I'm a trooper, so I can drive and I can do a podcast.
All right, we'll do the celebrity who he played for, and then me and Christian will save our guys. So go ahead.
Yeah.
All right. So
you got to tell us. You got to tell the rules are. You got to tell us offense or defense, and if they're currently on the last roster.
Gotcha. So right now he is not currently playing and hasn't currently played since 2019. And he was an offensive player drafted in 2006. Nope, hold up, 2005 by the San Diego Chargers. So drafted in 05, didn't play in 07 with the Chargers, but from 2007 to 2010 was still with the Chargers. After that, he was 11 to 13 Saints, and then from 14 to 19 finished his career in Philadelphia, and he was offensive side.
Wow. Chargers, Saints, Philly.
That's an interesting career path.
Oh man, Christian doesn't have it already. It's a good one.
Ryan Matthews came to mind for some
Oh
reason.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Was he in
Saints.
New Orleans?
No, that's why I'm rolling that out. It's not Tolbert.
Oh, I got it.
Got it?
I got it.
Do you really know?
I beat Christian. Let's go. I'm like 80% sure.
Yeah, the Saints thing's kind of tricky.
How many years was he with the Saints?
From 11 to 13.
Okay, so 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
Oh yeah, I have his jersey in my closet. I know what this is.
Wait,
y'all ready for?
Oh, it's in your closet. It's not on your wall.
Yeah.
All right, I'm guessing Darren Sproles.
You got it.
My guess.
Yeah, Darren Sproles. Nice.
Yeah.
The short king, man.
Nice.
Broke my heart, my young Colts fan heart as a kid, Peyton Manning fan in the playoffs, man. I was so mad. I hated that guy. That's a good one, man. That is a good one.
Sproles.
All right, and I got one more solid one for you guys, and then I'll let you guys take it on. I got another journeyman here, more so than most guys. Played again on the offensive side of the ball. Started his career, I should say, in Denver. 4 seasons in Denver, 3 seasons Chicago. Spent a couple seasons Miami and in New York, the Jets per se, and then Giants as well for a season, and finished his career in Seattle. Played the offensive side of the ball.
Man, I really thought it was going to be Jay Cutler, but I don't think it can be.
It's not Cutler.
I think I got it though. I think I got it.
Also, he's not playing currently. He retired in 2018. If that helps.
I have a guess. There's a couple of those teams I'm not 100% on though.
Oh boy.
Look at this.
No, I actually do. I do know. That is a great player. That is a great
I
play.
am gonna guess Kyle Orton.
No, it's not. I know
It's
who.
not
it is.
Kyle Orton.
Do you
Nope.
have another guess, Caleb?
All right, read it again then. You said
All right, so we
Denver, Chicago.
Miami, Jets, Giants, Seattle.
Yeah, this track's unbelievable. That is such
What?
a good name.
Drafted in
Oh.
06, retired 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
80 plus career touchdowns, over 12K in total yards.
Yep.
Yep.
He was good.
Chen, you got
He was
the answer.
All right, go ahead, Chen.
Brandon Marshall.
You got it.
Oh, wow. I was thinking only quarterbacks.
Yeah, those back years he spent a little time in Miami, then the Jets. I remember with Fitzmagic, but the Giants and Seahawks were very short stints. I was like, who played? But no, that was fantastic. Oh,
That was wow. Making us think, man. Those are some good
Uh-huh,
players.
Celebrity guest. I had to come on strong.
That is
That
true.
was fantastic.
That is true. All right, we'll have you back on. Hopefully, we'll discuss, but at some point to react, if it's in the playoffs or immediately after the Vikings-Packers game, and then obviously do another session of who he played for, so we can quiz you and you can have some fun with it. So, but for time's sake, that'll wrap it up for this episode. Jake, can't thank you enough for coming on. This was a blast. Always fun to have your perspective on.
It was
Yes, thank you guys
fantastic.
for letting me come on and enjoy the rest of the day, and hopefully I can get some of these guys on who he played for when I listen later tonight.
Yes, that
No
is
doubt.
true.
All right.
That is true. Happy New Year. Peace out. And as always, guys, be sure to listen. Check us out on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And we will be back Monday with our reaction to Week 17. And thanks for listening.
Peace.